Right, guys, and welcome back. This is Above Average FPL. My name is Adam. His name is Baker. How you doing, mate?
Fantastic. Fantastic, mate. I mean, what a weekend.
Absolute carnage. Carnage. I mean, we were treated last Sunday to some wonderful football, and once again this week, like Saturday was just crazy. The amount of goals that are going in at the moment is ridiculous. How's your
Ridiculous.
how's your game week been?
Yeah, I mean, it's good. It's actually good. Everything's really good. I think about 75 points or something like that, which is good. But when there's so many goals, it's quite hard to fathom sometimes about how good's good. And I don't know, just think about the fact that it's not doubles this season. It's just week to week to week. It's almost getting back into that old regime of knowing what's a good score or not. Yeah, I mean, 75 points for a captain blank is a lot of points, isn't it?
It's a lot of points. I mean, I only managed to get 61 myself. Disappointed with Gerard. To be honest, I'm disappointed with Gerard. Prick. Like, I wouldn't. I mean, there's no denying that. I just fuming. Like, they're clearly better with.
Yeah, you needed a hero today, mate.
I needed him. Yeah.
And Leon was not the man.
No, but look, a lot of people got unlucky with. We should have had a Perisic return today. Should have had a Tony return yesterday. I mean, we should have had about 5 Salah returns yesterday. I think at least 2, obviously. And then like City conceding 2 goals from 0.1 xG. It's like, well, what can you do? I know one of those is one is a 0 xG chance because it's no goal, but still, what can you do? It's just the way it is. So
I think that's the thing. I think for a lot of people now, and this will happen week in, week out, is that there are so many goals being scored at the moment, and therefore when things don't quite work your way, like you hit a post or you have a big chance, you have that piece like Perisic today, we thought, like if he gets that assist, he probably gets the bonus as well, and all the rest of it.
Well, 2.
But it those near misses, I think, are hurting a little bit more when they don't happen because they should be there. I was completely triggered yesterday by Ramsdale losing a clean sheet.
Yeah.
Which I didn't mind at the time because Fulham went 1-0 up and I was like, it's all fine. But then when I've got Ramsdale and then you've got the Gabriel and then, it's a Saliba potentially
assist.
handball, we don't even know where it is. You're like, that, then becomes really irritating. So I do think there is that out there. And because we're all so close at the moment. So not too concerned, mate. We just have to hope some of them swing our way. But the game is definitely. I woke up this morning and thought, man, like everyone's going at it, and we had a little look at some of the data to try and see, is that the case that we've got more teams going for it?
Let's have a look at that now. But I'm just going to stop right 1 second. Simon Walker, you've welcomed yourself to the mid-priced asset category of our membership. Thank you very much for joining us.
Hey, Simon,
we really appreciate that, Simon. So, cheers to you, and hopefully you'll be getting some additional content from us over the next few weeks for sure. Game state. So, straight into it. So, you sent me this, and this is a fantastic. First of all, that's Raul Jimenez celebrating his disallowed goal today. But he's looking at the XG, and he's interested in, well, not Wolves, because Wolves' XG is pretty poor. But
wasn't too bad start last season. Though. I do not remember that.
Yeah, I do recall they started all right, didn't they, last season? But then tapered off. Remember, like halfway through the season, they were sort of 7th, 8th, etc. They didn't start off so badly at all. But I think what's clear, what's clear here is just so the keys there. You can see it on for anyone listening and not on the screen. We've got a chart basically showing the XG from game weeks 1 to 4 in last season and this season. And what we've got is 6 teams last season that have averaged over 1.5 XG per 90 and 10 this season that are averaging over 1.5 XG per 90. So
I mean, just when you look at that, like if you're thinking about those kind of like distribution charts, you see the bell curve type things, is what you've got is 6 teams that average over 1.5. This is last year, 6 teams average over 1.5. Why still 1.5 is like two's your magic, but over 1.5, you're kind of almost likely to score, aren't you? You've got enough in there to score.
There's enough there.
One, you probably like, you might score one, but you're not likely to probably score many. Under one, I mean, you're likely, you're the teams people are targeting for clean sheets. So
I mean, just on that, I mean, I only know this for Tottenham, so maybe we need to look at other teams. But Tottenham last year were conceding sort of 0.1 xg per shot.
Yeah.
So if you consider that teams accumulating 1.5 xg against Tottenham, for example, would be taking 15 shots on goal.
Exactly. So they're
for
going to get a
example,
goal.
so that's almost the kind of thing we're dealing with.
It's got that sort of things. But last season's bell curve, 6 teams in that top echelon, good attacking teams. 8 teams, yeah, okay, but nothing spectacular. You're not doubling up on their attack. And then 6 teams which are just dull.
Including us.
Nuno.
Cheers, Nuno.
You move that forward to this season, and instead of being a 6-8-6 out of the 20, it moves to 10-5-5. So half the teams are at it. They are attack minded. You're not keeping clean sheets against them. 5 teams, yeah, they might get 1 goal. And then 5 teams, which is, and Bournemouth, like when we get 1.1 xg in 4 games.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, they haven't had the easiest start.
Yeah, but look at Fulham. Fulham have had
they've played Liverpool and
Arsenal.
Arsenal, yeah, true.
At theirs.
Yeah.
Oh no, Fulham was Liverpool, wasn't it?
Fulham were at home to Liverpool. They're away at Arsenal. Yeah.
But they've gone at it 6.19 xg in 4 games. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
You know, there are teams that are accumulating it, you know, on the regular. When we see the Brighton, when we see the Leeds, when we see Newcastle, Fulham, Brentford, these teams are now fighting with effectively the 5 attacking asset, which is Liverpool, City, Arsenal, Tottenham, and Chelsea. You've suddenly got 5 cheaper ones. And I say cheaper ones because from an FPL perspective, which is what we play, there's bargains there to be had in attack for those ones. And if you've got 5 at the back at the moment, or you're looking at defensive assets.
Just thinking about formations. I mean, I was thinking formations and wild cards and stuff like that. I mean, how comfortable can you feel with 5 at the back, knowing that half the league are putting up 1.5 xg?
But your other argument, counter argument, even more ways to attack the game. So Reece James, for example, is not keeping clean sheets and is scoring points. And it's, you know, the second he gets let off the leash, he's flying up there. We're seeing it all the time now from some of these players. As I said, to Arsenal guys, get, you know, some of the reason for that. You know, we've had Zinchenko, Gabriel, we've had 2 returns from Saliba, they've had 4 at the back there. You know, John Stones setting up Haaland in the 6-yard box. You know, these Van Dijk scoring a header. You know, these things, Perisic. You know, it's okay having defenders, but you probably want to give yourself the opportunity.
Yeah. So even more than what we were all saying at the start of the season is always wing backs, and it's always the ones that get the furthest forward. But that's not new news, really, is it?
It's not new news. But it does suggest to you, look, time's changing. Now, whether I'm sure everyone's going to say, hey, that's something to do with 5 subs and do those things. I'm not necessarily sure it's 5 subs, but I do think it's that they know they've got the 5 subs potentially to use. So if we gamble and it doesn't pay off, we can make more adjustments than we used to. If we go for it early, we can always bring more defenders on. So people can change the way they play, and you do see more swings. And I definitely think in a lot of when we look at our fixtures chart for this week, the number of chances that are happening in that last 30 minutes is going up.
Yeah. Yes.
Definitely. I think that is where we're starting to see it. But we're already looking at like a 10% extra XG on this season on last season.
That was mad. What was it yesterday? So we were looking at it yesterday, weren't we? And it was like game week 4 last season was was it game week 4 last season was like 25 XG. And
we'd already passed that before the games today.
We'd basically passed it before the games today. The equivalence was like something like 18.1 or something like that compared to the 24.
I mean, West Ham Villa did their best to bring it back down.
Yeah, absolute best.
But,
oh man.
Yeah, I guess, from a team perspective, looking at them, is there any big moves in this? Look, it's a short sample. That's why the teams isn't quite as relevant. But obviously, West Ham started last season good. No, they're not starting the season good. Leicester were just as bad at the start of last season as they are this season.
Yeah.
They start bad.
Still score goals though.
Yeah, and Arsenal have become a really good attacking asset.
Yeah, just the whole unit. And you can see that, like, despite Liverpool, that's the interesting thing about this season so far, is that, granted, a 9-0 will always help you in that, but I think they only accumulated maybe like 4 XG in the 9-0 win. Roughly, we'll have a look at that. There's a bit of sensitivity. Where did this data come from?
This is understat.
So this is understat, and we're using we're using crab stats for the XG graphs that we're using later. So there might be a slight difference in the model, but yeah, essentially here we're saying that Liverpool put up more XG than City, despite their horrific comparative start as well. So yeah, it's mad. And City have been on it as well. I mean, like, City haven't messed around. Even in the game they drew, they scored 3 and were absolutely smashing it. So yeah, it's mad.
It's interesting times, mate. I mean, this is said still short samples.
Yeah.
But I think it only becomes more fun in the next few weeks, because teams are now going to have less time to prepare. This is how it's been performing when teams had times to set up.
Yeah.
Actually, chaos is about to reign. But we can get into that.
Yep.
Sure.
Cool. Michael, you've asked best Brighton defender. I'm going to refuse to answer that because you asked it 4 times in about 6 seconds. So you can just sit on that and work it out yourself.
We'll get to it.
You can just wait until the Brighton game and we'll talk about it anyway. So cool. So do we want to move into plugs and then get onto the games?
Let's do it.
Cool, man. Right. Catch you in a sec. Firstly, guys and girls, thank you for joining us. Whether you're catching up with the podcast, whether you're watching on YouTube, or whether you're with us in the live stream, we appreciate every single one of you. And that doesn't matter whether you found us for the first time here today, or whether you're a seasoned follower of the show. Above Average FPL is supported by our good friend Dan. He is at CryptoBlockDan on Twitter. Dan has been in the crypto space for many, many years, doing very, very well. And he's currently working as an analyst with a company who works specifically in play-to-earn crypto gaming. Now, if you're interested in the blockchain, if you're interested in NFTs and the use cases of the technology in the future, then please go drop him a follow. Go ask him some questions. I'm sure he'd be happy to answer anything that you need to know. If you haven't maxed out all your mini leagues yet, there's one more that you can join. That is UAT148. The auto join links are going to be down in the description below. Last year's winner Jamie Pigott is in there, so it must be a good mini league to be in, I would say. And we're going to shut entries at the start of the World Cup, so make sure you get in there nice and early and see if you can win it. If you enjoyed the content that you see today, there's a couple of ways in which you can support the channel. The first one is to like, comment, subscribe and review. It helps us promote the channel and it allows us to reach more and more people looking for weekly FPL content. Alternatively, Baker and I are really looking to grow the channel this year. We've had a great 12 months, but we're looking to take that even further. If you wish to support the channel in that way, we have our YouTube memberships open now. We're looking to do maybe better content, more content, anything that we can make the FPL experience better for you guys. We are going to try and do that. Finally, once again from Baker and I, thank you very much for being here, and now we'll get back to the good stuff. And guys, yes, so also as you can see on the screen, and if you're listening, so the Football Content Awards are now live for nominations. We've done a lot of work over the last 12 months. The channel's really grown, and we're really appreciative of everyone that comes and listens and watches with us and chats with us about FPL each week. If you think that we are worthy of a nomination for the Best in Fantasy Football Creators category, then the details are in the description below. We would really appreciate it. If you don't want to, that's fine as well. You can just come and join us on a Sunday night. That's no problem at all. And just while we're here, we know I'm going to mention that we are going to be streaming on Thursday night as well, a little bit later than usual, but we'll be streaming on Thursday night, and we've got Hindu Monkey joining us on stream on Thursday. We're going to discuss game week 5 and on to game week 6, etc., because we've got a quick turnaround, and then we'll be back on the Sunday for the game week 6 as normal. Sound good?
Marvellous.
So we don't spend too long on this screen, but normally, but just so that everyone can see and remind themselves of the results of this game week, then so
goals.
Just goals everywhere, goals, mad. So I think we'd be doing a disservice if we didn't start with the Liverpool and the City games. So let's start with, where do you want to start first? City, Liverpool. Cool.
Liverpool.
Yeah. So I said this to you, like the most difficult thing about looking at this game is normally you get 20 minutes of highlights and you can analyze stuff that's going on in build-ups and chances and stuff like that. But literally 15 seconds into the highlights, it was 1-0, and then like 10 seconds later, it was 2-0. Like it was just one thing after the other, and it felt like Liverpool came out and just went, "We're just going to absolutely smack you to pieces straight away." It was relentless.
It was relentless, mate. And we talked earlier about like own goals and stuff like that, but obviously the own goal in the middle there, if that is a Diaz goal, it's even further. Mind you, it'd have been offside, wouldn't it? So it wouldn't have even counted.
Yeah.
Still can't work out that wasn't interfering with play. That was so bizarre.
I'm not sure it would have impacted the result, mate.
Yeah, it wouldn't have impacted the result. But I mean, 9-0, and what everyone's talking about is the man that didn't return.
I genuinely couldn't believe it. We're just sitting there in WhatsApp, weren't we? Just like 6-0, still no Salah. 7-0, still no Salah. And then those videos of those chances that he missed, man. I mean, like that, it's just completely ridiculous. Like last year's Salah doesn't miss that, right?
What do you think about the fact that he's just like smiling so much when he misses them? Does that bother you? It bothers me.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's maybe he's turned around. Yeah, maybe the mindset's changed. It's like, oh, it's just one of those things that I've missed that. When he should be angry, he should be raging that he's missed it. Does he not feel as hungry?
Do you think it's like a little bit that there's no Mane, and it's like before it was you'd see him get mad when Mane didn't pass to him and all the rest of it, and now it's like he's not there and he's the big dog and everyone loves him, and he's doing so much for the team. Like Trent comes inside now, and that pushes Mo wider, and he just takes it. Quite often he's taking the ball 30 yards out on the right while Trent dives inside him, and I'm like, weird, but he can put a good ball in. It doesn't quite feel like.
Do you think? I mean, it might just be I mean, it's probably tactical because they're playing. They've obviously done a lot of work with Nunez, right? And so that element of the way they play, he will be a lot wider once Nunez comes back in, and so crosses like that, they're not ideal for a Firmino who's likely not to be there because he's probably dropped off 5 yards, which granted worked absolutely fantastically for like the link up play for the Trent goal was really good. But like who's coming at the back post? I mean, well, fair enough. Diaz obviously scored a header. He's a bit of an animal like that, and he'll just get himself on the end of anything. But it isn't quite the same. So tactically, perhaps they're setting up so that he does stay wider. But even that's the thing, that even in that position, he's still accumulating high XG, which means he is getting into central positions. I mean, I haven't looked at like his. I didn't look at his shot map actually. I was going to have a quick look at his shot map.
But I mean, the two the chance at the end which he blasts over, and the chance obviously where he puts wide. The thing is though, with the chances, they're like not of his making. So if we think about the start of last season, the little jink, the outside of the boot dink over the keeper, and all of those type of moves, that's what we're not seeing. So he will accumulate chances because he's playing right wing for the most attacking team in the world.
Yeah.
that have a completely disjointed midfield that has no impact at all on the game.
Yeah.
Not from a fantasy perspective. So he's always going to get chances. So people say, "Oh yeah, he's still the chances." Well, of course he has, because he's playing in this team. But he's not getting the chances you want him to get. I.e., Firmino and Diaz were aggressive. Like, they were warriors in that game. They were, I know Bournemouth are there to be taken to the sword, but they were there to take them to the sword. There was an aggression to their play, a desire to be in the right place at the right time. Half chances where they're trying to stick their legs in whilst the defenders go into it. But Mo was handed chances and missed them.
Yeah.
And I think there's a little bit, when you're handed a chance, you sometimes miss those a lot easier than when you made the chance, because you've got yourself into that space. If you watch Kane's goal, for example, the first goal this afternoon, is he opened up, he's on the ball, he just literally just pushes it in. But then Son a bit later snatches at one, and that's a bit like what I feel like it's for Mo at the moment, is that they're not of his own making, is he's just reacting a bit to it. But he's still in the minutes. He's still so important to this team, and you can't see that changing. And the fixtures are still great.
Yeah, I mean, I still think there's merit. I think we can talk about it maybe at a later time when we're talking about wild card. But there's definitely merit to go to spreading that money around a little bit. You will have points come against you. I mean, that's just the way it is, right? And
yeah.
You're going to get 8. I feel like you're going to get more 8-pointers against you this season already than you're going to get 15-pointers. I don't feel like you're going to get hurt as badly. But, and at the same time, we've got someone else now, as a captain option, that's going to just push ownership up. And then you've got Jesus, who's 80% owned, that's just going to keep ownership high there. So actually, you're not going to be facing him at 180% every week, which was obviously the big problem last year, is that 180, 185, it was just last season, it's just impossible to go. But this season at 120, 125, okay. I mean, I think that's a worthy, you can go against that, because it's essentially just like not owning him, full stop.
And if you get it right when he does it, because it will happen at some point.
Yeah.
You're going to gain from it. I actually I wasn't annoyed about it in the first half, because I just assumed he was 180%. And I looked down and saw he wasn't.
135 or 130 or something like that.
And I was like, now I'm annoyed he's not scoring.
So that's 130. What was he, 135, something like that? And that's against, that's the best fixture on the calendar. Right? Yeah. But okay, doubles fine, but that's the best fixture on the calendar, 135%. That's small, relatively speaking. So, yeah, so I'm sitting here laughing at anybody that sold Trent. Quite funny.
I mean,
hilarious.
Yeah.
I didn't get it pre.
It's not a consideration. You can't go this game without Trent. No. The question becomes, because we see people.
Well, I think you may be able to go now without Robbo.
These continuous substitutions.
Well, the Simicast ones.
Yeah, when we're only playing once a week, I'm like, is there a niggle there? Is there something?
I think maybe it's just, but it might just be preparation for the rotation. So he needs Simicast to get minutes in the bank before he starts putting him on starting games and stuff. I don't see it much more than that, but you can see that that's the move that he's going to make. He's not going to put Joe Gomez out to the right because he's got no other fit centre-backs. So, Trent's locked, right, at the moment. There's no other fit centre-backs. It's he's got no chance. Konate, Matip, no. So, yeah, so Trent is locked, and, I can move off Robbo, that's fine. If you're on him, I would. And now we've got the Bournemouth game out of the way, it's fine. Pre-Bournemouth, I never would have recommended that anyway. So
it's a tough... It's hardly ever likely to be your biggest fire having Robbo, but it is a good cash cow if you want to go and try and move some money.
Yeah.
Go
on.
He's
going to get points. It's tough.
When he scores 2 headers, I'm like, he's going to get points.
He's going to get points because he's in the box. And if you look at both of his chances, that he only had 2 chances yesterday, and they were both basically within the 6-yard box.
Yeah, I don't think we need to talk about Bobby because we've got another game week before Darwin comes back. And
Yeah.
hey, if Bobby bangs it again in the midweek, and then it's like, oh, maybe Darwin's not an option, but
8 million.
Let's see what happens.
Any Bournemouth players on your mind?
No, absolutely not. Move on.
Move on.
Let's go to the person that is on our mind.
Haaland.
I mean, you titled the pod, mate. What did you title the pod?
A new king, potentially. A new king of FPL. Like, he has the potential. Is it 6 goals in 4 games? It's a good start.
I joked about something yesterday when you said like about the games, and we said about that 3rd goal that he scored yesterday.
Yeah. What did you say?
I compared him to Kenwyne Jones.
Oh my god! I kind of half registered that, and I didn't quite know what to say to it, to be honest. I just didn't. I just saw it and I was like, okay, fine. If that's how you want to see it, mate, you can see it that way. I can't even remember how. I'm having a look to see how.
In my brain,
responded.
I was trying to remember a centre forward in the league that used that kind of power, that when a man is literally scrabbling off his back and he just keeps running, Ward was just literally like grabbing on. He's like, get off me.
Yeah,
I'm putting this in the net. And I couldn't think of someone that was that bullish and quick and all those persons. And the person that for some reason came to me was Kenwyne Jones.
I'm still looking for that. I can't see the message, but
yeah, and I'm like, maybe we just haven't seen a guy like this before.
Oh man,
it's even once Haaland scores, the bit that always surprises me is when he does that run off and jump.
Yeah.
It's that little run off. He looks so predatory in that run. He looks so quick and so big, and you're like, God, yeah, what is this man?
Yeah, everything about that 3rd goal. I think that 3rd goal is the one. I mean, like the positioning for the second one, clever. They did that thing on Match of the Day analysis. Like, there were 9 Palace players in the box, and there was no one within 2 yards of him. like, how did he find that much space? Obviously, the first one, really good header. It just anticipation is just excellent. The 3rd one for me, though, as you said, like, just complete strike, just completely just held off Ward, and the finish was as calm as anything.
It's like he wasn't there.
And
it's like they're scrambling around.
I can't work out whether he side-footed it or he punted it or he just slammed it. I couldn't work out. There's a lot of power on it as well.
Massive. Just get in that corner. Exactly. Just go.
So then how many times can he do this? Because like Palace aren't a bad team. Like City just obviously have generally hold most teams to like this kind of XG chart where they're sitting at like 0.2. Like it's just kind of what you expect. But they're not terrible normally defensively. So, like, if he's doing this to like a Palace, do the risk is now is like, do we think he can go and do this against the Fulham? Like, and hear me out, because obviously he can. But is he even going to play? Right, that's the thing. Is he needed against like a Fulham? Is he needed against a Villa or a West Ham now? West Ham next fixture.
I think, when you look at that thing we talked about at the start, the thing that there are 10 teams currently averaging over 1.5 XG, I think anybody that tries to muck about gets found out now. And I genuinely think the new game is just manage the minutes. It's just, hey, as soon as you think that they're going to get to a point where they've played too long, that they can't play next game, you just get them out. Just get them off the pitch, and we'll do it again next week.
Yeah,
and I know that Pep said that quote, but
I think it will happen. I think it will happen on Wednesday.
You think he's not starting?
Yeah, I don't think he'll start on Wednesday.
Do you not?
He was raging about not getting a hat trick in game week 1. Right, he's got his hat trick now. I think he'll be fine with the rest now, and then he'll be like 60. Look, again, I said it last week, right? So he's going to be involved. I mean, it might be the case. Who have they got midweek? Actually, I can't even remember who they got midweek.
Home to Forest, mate. They got midweek.
Well, there you go. Home to Forest. So, yeah, I don't think there's any chance he's playing at all. I don't think there's any chance he's starting the game. I don't even think he'll come on. And then he'll play at the weekend. He'll play 60 and then come off. But it's going to be a situation where, if the game's wrapped up, then he'll depart the pitch, right? He'll just come off. If the game is in... Well, I don't think he'd have played 90 if this was 3-0 at half time. There's no way he'd have played 90 if it was 3-0 at half time. The fact they were 2-0 down, like...
But if he starts on Wednesday night against Forest,
just be another hat trick.
Because we're thinking about it. This is the thing. We thought that Salah was going to be 180% owned because we just assumed everyone would captain Salah home to Bournemouth. We're now in that position again where we're like, well, we won't captain Haaland because Pep will rest him. And there's 4 million of the game going. ICT index 2 out of 601. Erling Haaland home to Forest. Yeah. It's a green fixture. In we go. Yeah. Captain him up.
Yeah, true. Triple captain's everything.
Like,
piss off.
Don't think he's not going to be the most owned man in this game on Wednesday night. Like,
I just can't see him getting minutes. I just can't see him even playing. I don't even think
he does.
See, the thing is, the risk is if he comes on for like 20, right, he could still score 2, which is fine. But I don't even think he'd get 20. I just don't. I can't.
I don't think if he doesn't get 20 though, I don't think he gets any. And therefore, I'm like, maybe we should
just cap him. So if he starts, you get it. If he gets 20, you get it. And if he doesn't start and he doesn't play, you just get your vice.
Yeah,
which is probably the right play, to be fair.
Which is that the play? Like, is it?
Probably is the right play, is to cap him against it and then just wait till Pep leaves him out the whole squad and then you're sitting with your vice.
This week is going to rile so many people because the sensible people pick Salah because he's home, he's playing Newcastle. Which is nothing against Newcastle, but Bruno Guimaraes probably isn't playing.
That's a problem.
And that's a problem. And he's not scored in forever. Well, he didn't score in a 9-0 game.
Not scored in forever. You mean like Monday?
Yeah, exactly. It's Monday. It's been at least 5 days. You just like
Colm's brought up a point in chat. Hold on one sec. Let me just go to, because we didn't look at this, so we can look at this for City's number of rest days. Because he's saying, isn't the Forest to Champions League game longer than the Champions League game to the Villa game?
Yeah.
So if we bring that up, so thank you, Lego Mane. Shout out to you for this wonderful graphic. So, he's got
4 days now.
Yeah.
But only 3 days to Villa.
I tell you what, mate. Can you just you lead for a second? I'll be right back, mate. Okay.
Yeah. So yes, he's got 4 days to Forest, 3 days to Villa, 3 days to Sevilla. I mean, how can we not cap Haaland at home to Forest? It doesn't feel right to me. The more I look at it, I'm like, I don't know what to do here. I do wonder about as well for our moves this week. How do you take any City player out? But I'm looking at Cancelo as the cash cow and take him out. But you're like, the game to rest people is the Villa game. The more you look at it, it's not the Forest game. Oh, I don't like this. I do not like this. How do you take a City man out and how do you not cap a man when this is actually the bigger break between now and Forest?
Yeah. Apologies for that. I had to just disappear. The wife's gone out shopping, so little one's not too happy in bed at the moment. So she's going to come and read with me. I'll edit this bit out of the pod. That's fine. But for anyone watching on YouTube,
mate,
I just disappear.
Fine. It's all good. It's all good. Those that stayed with us heard my mental anguish of going back and forth. Of there's a slightly bigger break here than there. Hey, mate, he is the king though. Like when it comes around, like if he doesn't play at Forest,
yeah,
I considered that maybe that I would go say Haaland, Kane, or something like that for the Fulham game, but. If he doesn't play Forest, then
he'll play Villa.
Then he plays Villa.
Yeah.
And whenever he's playing, you want him in your team.
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely.
They are animals.
Anybody else in the team we're looking at? Cancelo?
Yeah, I was
risk?
just saying is I'm thinking about it, but when I'm seeing that 4-day thing, it's like, whoa, now's not the time. Now's not the time.
Okay.
Next weekend is the time, potentially.
Yeah. Fair enough. Fair enough. Moving on. League order. Do you want to go league order?
Yeah, come on then.
Guess where we're going next?
We are going next. Oh,
And yeah, so Tottenham Forest today. How do you think the game went, generally speaking?
so I think people that watch Tottenham necessarily don't understand that there's a really easy way to dominate possession against Tottenham, and the easy way is that you play three central midfielders against two central midfielders. And Bentancur and Højbjerg are very passive central midfielders. My passive is that they do not tackle. They jockey. They block the space. They let us concede low XG chances. They play as a sort of 7-man backline when they in defence, so that Lloris is there, and it can look a little bit like, hold on, aren't Tottenham supposed to be a Champions League team? And then they score.
Yeah.
And then they hung on for a bit, and then they score again, and they could have scored many times. And that's kind of the nature of the way that Tottenham play. It is what it is, you know.
I'll tell you what, I'm just going to stop. I'm just going to stop right there because there's a couple of people that have asked about Silva and Gundogan, which we didn't cover in the City one. We kind of just glazed over.
We better go back and cover Silva.
So we just cover Silva, just cover Bernardo and Gundogan. So, you know, I think Gundogan has just been given a rest essentially. You know, and I think between as far as I can see anyway, I think Gundogan, KDB, and Silva, I think will have to share minutes. Ultimately, I think he'll want KDB to play as many, but
you know, Gundogan's the fun punt to bring in it for this week, midweek.
Yeah, I'd be happy to say he'll start midweek. If you've got him, obviously, then you're fine. If you want to punt on him this week, I think that's a fun move.
I just think Luis Diaz, though, if your 8 million is Luis Diaz, I feel like he's done enough for you to say he's not the man to punt to. You've got to find somewhere else to punt to it. And then you're like, what do I do? I'll move Cancelo to somebody else so that I can then upgrade my fourth midfielder to. And you're like, they're playing on the same team, mate. Like, it doesn't quite feel right. I get it. I think Gundo will do really, really well. And anyone that's got him, great. But can I get there? There's going to have to be a lot of press conference stuff. And there's so much fixture congestion coming up that it's tough.
Yeah.
It's tough. And Bernardo is a brilliant player, but we don't know where he's going to play. As soon as you think, he's playing, he's really high up on the right, he'll go back and play one of the two in defensive midfield and it won't happen again.
And then Foden? I mean, if you've got Foden, great. I think.
Great, but I just don't see us going with him for a while.
Yeah. Fair enough. Right, cool. Back to Spurs.
You can't take him out, though, can you? Can't take him out if you've got him.
No. Although you might miss out midweek, but.
Anyone with Son?
I said last week to get rid of him. So
yeah, it's still the same, mate.
Yeah. I mean, he came off and he looked pissed, right? He wasn't happy.
Yeah, but then Richarlison just comes on and steals all the headlines.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Richarlison's done enough to earn his start, particularly midweek.
It's actually almost a bad thing for Conte not to start him. Conte should, at the end of the game, and go, look, this guy has come in for 50 million quid and is happily sitting on the bench. Then when he comes in for 30 minutes or 20 minutes as he came in today, he has done everything for the team. Yeah. For the team in the way that he's played. That ball was going out, wins it, puts an outside of the boot cross and does it, does his showboat stuff and all the rest of it. But he's there to go, we are winning this game. Yeah. And it's finishing. And the other guy's kicking chairs. So
then other FPL considerations, obviously Kane.
Still.
If you've got him as part of some random premium or something at the moment, I mean, he's picking up big chances, right?
Big chances. There's a load of good cheap midfielders at the moment.
Yeah.
There's a load of good cheap midfielders. Your Rodrigos, your
Pascal
Gross, we're going to get to, and
Martinelli.
those type of players. You don't want to take any of them out, and if you've got them. Game week 6, I'm potentially looking at, there is an option that I would take Salah out in that game week and bring Kane in.
Okay.
That is a maybe position to be in for that Fulham game. But there's also the chance that if he's ever going to rotate Kane,
it's going to be that week.
Yeah, but I think he might.
Particularly if he gives Son a rest.
Yeah,
yeah,
there is a chance.
And he said it in the pressers, right, as well. He said he has to.
I don't think Fulham, you can take him as lightly. I mean, they've just shown going to Arsenal, they put up a good fight.
And their XG is pretty good as well at the moment, so they're not messing around.
Yeah.
And then
it's a potential. Perisic just makes the game look so easy.
Yeah.
He's getting nowhere near on the bonus, though, is he?
No.
I know. Obviously, he got the bonus last time out, but on the baseline side of it,
no, it's all Davinson at the moment.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of teams play the majority of their football down the right hand side. I think that just is a natural thing that baseline is accumulated to right side players. I mean, probably do some big old study on that when we do a BPS 3.0, whatever it is.
Yeah.
But I just think a lot of the build-up play happens down that right-hand side. So like your Emerson Royales and Romero when he's in, Sanchez at the moment, it tends to all go that way. And then for Tottenham, the left-hand side's a weapon. He was open so many times and not found.
Yeah.
A lot of the time because of bad passes from Emerson Royale. But he's there and it just makes, honestly, every single cross you think like, oh yeah, just knock it in and it's a perfect ball. Like, he's so much better than anybody else we've got in that club across number football.
Yeah.
I think we'll play him as many times as we can play.
Yeah. Agreed.
And he's not quite the player that he was, is he? In that he's not, you wouldn't call him a flyer anymore.
No.
No, he just sort of purrs up and down. He's in the right place most of the time. You know, even in his own box, he's in the right place, cool and calm, if you like.
Yeah.
He's not. He doesn't overcommit himself going forward. You can tell it's just a guy that knows his body and plays within it. So, yeah.
But he was in the right places when we needed him, though. I mean, he dealt with Necker quite well, and he was even up the other end for. Did you see how deep he started when Kane picked up that ball before his shot? The other one that went over the bar. Like he was pretty deep, and he got there quite comfortably. Like no problem.
He's just an athlete. Just gets there, and knows that to get there. And Kane, when he had that shot early in the first half, could have just done the layoff.
Yeah.
Should have just tucked it inside for him. So I think we'll use him as physically as much as we possibly can. I do not think that's a rotation pairing. I think that's a use Perisic as much as you can, and Sessegnon is very much number 2.
Yeah.
Do you think he'll start in the midweek?
Yes,
I do.
Yeah, I think he'll start midweek.
Yeah.
I think it's weirdly, and we'll talk about West Ham in a bit, but weirdly, it doesn't feel like as tough a fixture as it would ordinarily be. There is obviously going to be a bit of there's going to be a bit of spice associated with it, as always. It feels like actually it could be one of those games where it's like Dr. Tottenham turns up and and West Ham get everything.
They just got to win.
Yeah, well, true. Yeah, didn't really do anything though. But
that's true.
But there we go. But there's a question. Would you take Kane out versus Man City in game week 7? You're looking at bringing him in game week 6.
That's the thing.
It's a difficult one.
But it's not like he did badly there last season.
Yeah. And do you think defending deep against City we're going to be able to keep out Haaland? It's all very well keeping out like Brennan Johnson and like whoever else we've played so far. It's just like it's fine and like, but yeah, then Haaland starts knocking at like 1.5 xg in the game, and you're like, well,
he does. Well, it's going to be a fascinating to watch. 8 goals in the last 14 games for Tottenham. That's conceded.
Yeah.
That's strong.
It's good.
Where's next in the league?
Well, I guess it's all the way down to the south coast, mate. Look at Brighton.
Look at these boys.
They're absolutely smashing it at the moment. I mean,
Good team.
I can't recall that. Why can't I recall that chance that Leeds had?
No, I can't quite.
I can't quite remember what the chance was.
Maybe Sinistera at the back post.
Maybe.
Yeah. I think it must be.
Yeah. But, like Potter has just got them absolutely buzzing at the moment.
They're a really good team.
No one's told. Yeah, they are really good,
and they've got the right players in the right places doing the right things. Like they brought Stupinan. Is that how we say it?
Stupinan, I think. Yeah,
Stupinan. Yeah. They brought him in so they can release Trossard. He goes further forward, and he looks just like a really high quality player at left wing back. Solly March is doing really good stuff on the right. And, if you compare, say, Solly March to Emerson Royal, like, that's a lot better player.
Yeah.
Well, they've got good players. Dunk, Veltman, Webster, fantastic. I mentioned it to you last week. I mentioned it to the Wire guys, but they were only playing 3 defenders in terms of from a fantasy perspective, but Stupinan is actually a defender too.
Yeah.
So they're playing 4 now, technically, if he starts playing. But when you're only playing the 4 and Sanchez, makes it a bit easier for Sanchez to get some bonus. So another 8-pointer. I mean, he's the gold in terms of the centre, the goalkeepers right now, isn't he? Bob Sanchez is flying.
Yeah.
But Veltman, Dunk, it feels wrong not having a piece of their defence.
It also feels like we might have missed out. I know that the past does not necessarily predict, or doesn't really predict the future in small sample sizes. It feels like it's one of those where you're sitting at a roulette wheel, right? And it's been red 4 times, and you're like, well, it's going to be black next time, isn't it? It's going to be black next time. They're definitely going to concede next game. But
Fulham, Leicester, Bournemouth, Crystal Palace.
It's like that's 4 games. They keep another 4 clean sheets.
Well, not Leicester, obviously, because it starts 1-1.
No, it starts 1-1. Sorry.
Yeah. But Fulham are going to, but Bournemouth, Palace could easily be. They'll take another 2 clean sheets out of these next 4.
Yeah.
They're a good team. And Pascal Gross, mate. He's a player.
Yeah. And to be fair, he always was, really. He's been a good player for a while. But they've never really clicked as a team, have they? And he's never had anyone to actually score the chance. I mean, they're still racking up more XG than they're scoring. They're still underperforming on XG. So it's not like much has changed down there. But still, I mean, he's taking the responsibility on his shoulders now, and the movement between him and Trossard is really good at the moment.
Really,
and
good.
Welbeck's really complementing the team. Like
massive.
It's really suiting the way they play. So fair play to Brighton. Brighton fans must be absolutely loving it. Like they must be loving it, and fair play to them. So I mean, any one of those guys. I mean, like three strikers. I mean, like Welbeck probably not from an FPL point of view, but people looking at Pascal Gross. I've moved to him because I could reach him before the price rise. So I've taken Bailey out, obviously, and gone to him. But I mean, I wouldn't advise anyone get away from like Trossard.
I want him.
Trossard as well. I mean, like Trossard's good as well. I mean, in that price bracket, I'd
just a bit more expensive, isn't it? When Pascal Gross.
Well, when you feel like he's 5 points. Yeah, Pascal Gross now 5.8.
All the way up to 6.0, he's still the best. 6.0 or below, he's still the best person out there to get.
Yeah.
So don't worry about the price rises. Don't think you missed out on him. I think if you can get him at 5.8, then he's fantastic. If I can find a way to get him in easily this week, he's coming in this week. He's playing really good football. Leeds. Wow. There's a lot of people got Rodrigo. But that's a good performance.
It's fine. Yeah, no, he played all right. I mean, and you can find. I mean, give it a couple of weeks, and you can move to Pascal Gross, and you'll still have the money to do so if they both keep rising in tandem together. Well, obviously, I think Rodrigo will obviously slow down now, but
having them both though, is no bad deal any week.
You're sitting there with like Gross and Rodrigo, and Martinelli, and Like you could have.
It's difficult when they're
It's
5 at the back plus
it's
3
amazing. We always took
mid-price
we
midfielders,
talked
and we
about
all
it.
want
We
3
talked about it
strikers.
though. We talked about 8 million midfielders like they were some sort of diamond gold.
Yeah.
like gold dust. But like every year, these 6.5 and below midfielders,
They come out.
they just appear, and then everyone goes, "Oh, should have gone there," and "Oh, let's go there," and then it's just chaos to get there. So
Yeah, I mean the second, third, and fourth highest scorers in the game are Rodrigo, Gross, and Odegaard.
yeah.
So like all mid-price midfielders. We better go speak about Arsenal, better we?
Oh yeah, did we forget that? Did we forget they were actually top of the league? Like Mark said, lads refusing to look at the top of the table. Yeah, cheers, Mike. Sorry.
Absolute refusal.
Yeah, I think it's probably because we looked at Liverpool first. That's why it happened. Like we looked at Liverpool first as the first game. Obviously,
completely
Liverpool aren't top of
accidental.
it genuinely was. Just completely forgot you existed. To be fair, but Arsenal got away with one from a result perspective. Got away with one.
There's signs in that game of last season Arsenal.
Yeah,
there's signs of it for 75 minutes of last season Arsenal. So the
Mike's got his clock out. He's expecting another 9-minute.
He's not getting 9 minutes.
No, he's not getting 9 minutes.
The thing that happened with Arsenal last season was that they slowly accumulated a huge number of chances that were just, were like 0.1, 0.2. You're never really that worried. As a man that didn't captain Jesus, and you didn't captain Jesus, and most of us didn't, you didn't want Jesus to score. And I didn't feel threatened about him scoring in that team. And I'm like, is this the old Arsenal returning?
Yeah.
Now, they forced away.
Yeah.
Literally bludgeoned away.
Yeah.
Is regardless of what happened for it, everybody's challenging the keeper. They want it. They're on it. They need it. They know that they cannot drop points. Yeah. They know that this is the season. This is the time to make hay with the fixtures. They've gone at it. And I'm like, fair play.
Yeah.
This is the team we're looking at now that are going to work really hard. Ramsdale, I thought he was bad for the goal in that he just was like, he does that weird flat when he's one-on-one. He's not so good at it sometimes, but 2 great reflex saves at the end. Is even after the goal they scored, he came out big for that team to make sure it stayed 2-1. So
yeah,
as a team, their will to win is really strong. Will to win doesn't necessarily make great teams for
not for FPL.
FPL.
However,
mate,
the man on the screen,
Odegaard's flying.
Yeah. 3. I mean, and if you remember last week, he was on the screen again. So yeah, it's 3 bones for Odegaard.
He's flying.
Yeah,
he's flying. And I think it's one of those where we've talked about for 3 weeks now that Saka is playing right wing back. We've talked about that Xhaka is bizarrely like an inside forward of some kind in playing that channel run. Odegaard's doing the same channel run, but Odegaard is a much better attacking asset than Xhaka.
Yeah. So, yeah.
And so he's going to continue to play that inside right channel. He's going to continue to have Saka outside him. He's going to continue to be a better asset than Saka. He's going to continue to...
He's going to look at why he's got confidence of scoring goals as well. I mean, he's going to look inside because he's left-footed.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's going to be his default, is to look inside, and whether that's interplay with Jesus or whether it's to look wide to Martinelli, potentially. Once he's inside, it's very difficult to look back to your right and then try and...
And he was confident. That little step over, I know he got a deflected goal, but a little step over to get there was great. The issue is that most of us have already doubled up an attack with Martinelli and Jesus. And I'm like, show me something that says I shouldn't have those 2 in my team. It's quite difficult. Unless you're wild carding, it's quite difficult to say that your transfer should be on one of those two, and therefore we're not going to own him.
No.
But these fixtures are good for a little while.
Are you still happy owning? Are you still happy owning Ramsdale as your Arsenal defender?
Absolutely not.
That feels like a bad place to
be. He's had,
but the problem is there's 3 of them.
Yeah,
there's 3 of them at the back.
He's made 4 saves.
Yeah,
in 4 games.
Yeah,
I think.
So he's not getting
6
save points.
He's made 6 saves in 4 games. 2-2, 1-1.
Yeah. So he's not getting
bonus.
No.
Not getting bonus.
Doesn't even help when like it's, and not only is he not getting bonus, he's being beaten on baseline, but each week it feels like a defender is getting a return as well.
Somebody else is getting a gain in it, and people own these players.
It's like Saliba 2 weeks in a row, Gabriel, Zinchenko, like they've all had a piece of it.
Yeah. It does just keep putting the boot in there, man. Yeah. It feels bad having Ramsdale as a keeper. Mm-hmm. But what feels really bad is that you're like, I'd like to take Ramsdale out. That's what I'd like to do. But do I want to make, we don't want to make 1 transfer on a keeper, but do I want to make 2 transfers on a keeper? Because effectively you kind of are, because if I take him out and then I go in the next 3 games, he's got home to Villa, a home to Everton. Am I really comfortable not having an Arsenal defender? And my answer is no, I'm not that comfortable not having an Arsenal defender. So then I'd end up spending another transfer and bringing one in. So I'd be like, I take Ramsdale out, then can I get Saliba in? What's the point?
2 transfers for an extra 3-4 points here and there.
Nah, it just feels knee jerky, and then I'm like, don't do it.
Just makes you just feel like you've got the cover and you're okay.
Yeah, just take the cover and be okay.
Yeah, just
we're gonna wildcard soon, mate. It's gonna happen.
Well, this is it. You're getting, you've got cover, right? You're getting hit with whatever Gabriel. Minus the clean sheet. I'm getting hit with everything because I don't have an Arsenal.
I mean, I got hit with it all this weekend because, I didn't really. We got away with it because 30% of the game owns Zinchenko.
Yeah.
Like once he's back in midweek, and they're playing Villa, 0.4 xG Villa. At home.
Yeah.
Like, nah. Like I can't do it. I would like Sanchez over Ramsdale anytime. And if you're going to do it, now is the time to do it because Sanchez next 3 is good.
Yeah, agreed.
Sanchez might cover, even though the Arsenal can't cover. You give him the Arsenal coverage.
Yeah.
So I'm not completely ruling it out because I don't like it. Because the other thing is, you're like, well, what were you actually gaining from having him still? And it's like, well, it's a maximum of 6 points.
Yeah, I kind of feel that way about Edison myself. And I get a million out of him if I go down to a Sanchez, for example.
Well, 0.9 now, mate. It's 4.6.
Oh, yeah. Oh, wonderful.
It doesn't feel right not having Brighton, but it doesn't feel right not having Arsenal. So, hey, something has to give. If you need that transfer, I don't hate it at all. But Villa at home.
Yeah, we're not going to go there first. So we're going to go down the table. Why not? We're doing it now anyway. So, and for the second week in a row, I'm going to ask you to say the line.
I mean, they didn't start a 1-1, but they both scored.
Yeah, it never got to 1-1, but yeah, Leicester games always start 1-1, and they actually racked up some XG this week. Fair play.
Yeah, this is like literally their best one. But even that, like Brodge is saying at the end of the game, like, I'm really pleased. It's like no one mentions the fact that Chelsea had 10 men for 70 minutes.
Yeah.
Why is no one mentioning that they? When does a team get a man sent off after like 28 minutes and then score the next 2 goals?
No. Centre midfield as well. Just important, but not one that you can just say.
Yeah, and not like, they've got a load of centre midfielders they could bring off the bench because they're really struggling in that position.
Yeah, exactly. Chelsea is still an enigma to me. They really are. From from an FPL perspective, I know Sterling scored twice. It's just a price point that just still is just really, really horrible to get to unless you know, I guess you have to sacrifice a premium defender and Salah to get there.
Yeah,
right? That's what you have to do, and just get James. I think is just really just keep James for now.
Keep James, and look, Cucurella's better than the 5.5 or below's currently out there.
Yeah.
So if you want to go 5 at the back and you've got Cucurella, he's better than the 5.5s.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but
Cucurella guys have got lucky though. Like they almost got 2 assists and they were complete bullshit assists. Let's be honest.
Well, he almost came off at half time.
Almost came off at half time. Taps one inside and then he hits a deflected shot that pings out from 25 yards and goes in.
Yeah.
Like, be happy with what you got from there.
Yeah.
But he's still, I think regardless, he's going to somehow find a way, Cucurella, to shit points because he's in a team that eventually will keep 12 to 14 clean sheets in a season. He will get 7 or 8 assists. He might get the odd goal. He will probably return 25 times this season. It's £5 million.
Yeah, easy.
He's a fantastic asset, and they've got Southampton away, West Ham at home, Fulham away, and I wouldn't be surprised if he plays them all because he's just a good player, and he Cucurella. Yeah. But James is a fantastic player. Like James, I know that Trent scored the worldie and all that, but I don't look at Trent and think you're a brilliant right back. Like if someone said to me, who's the best right back? Like Reece James is just different. For me, he's a different league.
It's a slightly different role that he's being asked to take up, of course. No, Trent's is very much more. It does feel more midfieldy.
It's Hollywood though, as well, isn't it?
And
it's you hit things and you go, wow, like nobody else. It doesn't matter what position he is. There's no one in the world that can hit the ball sometimes as well as he hits the ball in terms of the crossfield passes and what he does. James, the way that that second goal, the way that he has that movement of in and out of the centre midfield and then the overlap and then the way he puts the ball on just such an unbelievable weight to Sterling at the back post, you're like, this just is, he's a special player.
Defensively, he's brilliant as well.
He's just a special player, Reece James.
Because he's just, I think it's the shape of him as well. I mean, he's like Trent's really slender and you feel like he's really easy to. You wouldn't mess with Reece James.
You wouldn't. So. Nah, mate, he's been like on it in the gym and stuff. Things exactly. He's ripped. Like I don't see Reece James leaving my team anytime.
No.
This whole season.
So people are asking about Fofana 4.4. I mean, just
need to see it, don't you?
Yeah,
you need to see what they do with it.
Then yeah,
if they spend the money they spend, when have we ever had it where you've got a 4.4 defender that's coming in at this kind of money in a top 14?
Ooh, good.
Yeah, I had to add that on the back because I was just thinking about Harry Maguire and Lisandro Martinez.
I was also thinking about Ben White as well. So yeah. So just
but in a top 4 Champions League team, 4.4.
Yeah.
It feels like a cheat code under the value of everything else in that team.
Yeah, definitely. And you wouldn't want to double up anywhere else on the in the side, would you? Really?
Nah.
Like you still wouldn't want to go to exactly that price.
Sterling's too expensive, so. And Mount is just that's done in it.
Yeah.
You just keep looking at the fixtures and think they're good attacking fixtures, but you just got to get them gone.
Yeah. We're over an hour already, mate. We need to fly through these next ones because where are we going next? Because I've not got them in.
We've got left Man United, Southampton.
We have got United, Southampton. Yep. So,
are you looking at any player on either team here?
No. Still no. No.
They're working hard, United, and they tried to grind that game out like 0 XG after the goal. Get the goal, do the goal, try and hang on. and they did literally hang on. That's not ideal, actually, in a way, for their assets. Like, you want players that once they've scored the goal that
they kick on and want to do more.
But they're not. They're in firefighting stage. They're in what can we do to keep this game doing? But they've got themselves 2 wins out of this, and they just need to keep fighting.
I still think we need to wait and watch, and because there's obviously Casemiro to come in, and then Martial's coming up top. Yeah. So once those two come in, we may see maybe not shape change, but you might see the way that the game's played a little bit changes a little bit.
Yeah.
It'll free up Bruno even more. It'll free up it'll be a triangle of Bruno, Eriksson, and Casemiro, won't it? So
if Bruno was a bit cheaper and we had Sterling and Bruno at 10 million, but then it becomes a bit more fun with the pair of them, but they're not. So they're tough to go to either of them.
Dalot, I mean, I just can't. I mean, I know they haven't conceded here, but I just still don't quite trust their defence yet.
Well, they didn't concede because Southampton messed it up. They didn't. That was the reason.
Yeah.
Let's be fair. Like, they should have scored. So therefore, like, I'm not really that interested in when you've got ones that should have messed it up. Yeah. They messed it up.
Yep.
So that's them.
Cool.
Sorry.
No, that's fine. I don't know. No need to apologise to me, obviously.
Are we going to even cover West Ham Villa?
I'm just going to put it on the screen, and then everyone can look at it for like 10 seconds, and then we can switch it off. Because
is the content?
I mean,
this is
a reminder again that the scale of the graph is different to that. Because if you look at the Liverpool Bournemouth game, it looks kind of a similar graph, except the top of the scale on the Liverpool graph is 5xg, and the top of the scale on the Villa versus West Ham graph is 0.35xg. So yeah. So even they look like big chances, but they're actually really small.
Get Steven Gerrard out of that club, mate.
Oh my God.
Just get him out of that club. He's pointless.
Terrible. Before we move on to the next one, guys, we've got like 220 of you in here. If you are enjoying the content, make sure you hit that like button. If you want to see more of the content, hit the subscribe button. That'd be very much appreciated. Let's move on. We've got 2 more to go.
Oh, we're going to cover about Villa West Ham. Is it the graph wasn't to scale?
The graph wasn't to scale. What do you want to say? Like, look, Villa have got a terrible run of fixtures coming up, right? They've got
West Ham's turn shortly.
Arsenal, City, Leicester before they get Southampton, Leeds, Forest.
Yeah.
Like, so Villa are like dead.
We're going to get irons on them, aren't we, to tell us about West Ham? And hopefully by that time, either they're really bad and we can all laugh at West Ham, or
they've got Tottenham. They've got Tottenham, Chelsea, Newcastle next 3 games.
Then it gets better.
It gets better after that, but that's 3 games away, and we're trying to do a game week 4 to game week 5 pod. Yeah. So I'm not interested in talking about them anymore.
Let's go.
Bowen should have scored. That's about it.
Yeah, Emerson 4.0. That might be one.
Okay, fair enough.
But Neco Williams was bloody attacking for Forest against us today.
He was. Yeah, he was.
You can't come off him.
He was.
How do you feel about the fact of being a Tony owner in this Brentford Everton 1-1 game?
I'm raging. You told me about some kind of penalty, but Match of the Day didn't show any penalty, I don't think.
I don't know. There was a VAR check,
So some kind of check or something, but we don't know what it was. Never saw it. Never even saw it. So whatever it was, I'm just raging that he hit the post from 7 yards. And wherever it is on this chart, oh no, I can't even see it on this chart. Why can't we see this on this chart? Because there was 2 chances in the space of, because there's the Wissa chance straight away, wasn't there?
Yeah.
I'm trying to understand why we can't see it. Is that them combined in the first half? That big jump just after the goal.
Maybe. Yeah, I think that they are. Yeah, I think that does happen. I think if they're
because it's within like 5 seconds.
Yeah, same minute. Yeah, so it goes up in the same minute. So I think if the chances are the same minute, yeah, because that was the one on that we didn't. The one thing we didn't mention on the Man United game was that the Man United and Southampton, both teams had massive chances in the space of like a calendar minute. So it looks like they've both missed a single chance that was huge, but it was actually they both had scrambles.
Yeah,
and should have scored. This one, I mean, this happened last week. Is that Everton did the other way round in that they tried to kick on at the end, but they were a bit toe for toe, and then Brentford just pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed for that equaliser, and obviously got there in the end. But
Brentford putting up another two XG, over 2 XG at home again. Like, that's good.
They've basically gone away from the craft of Eriksen and are now just trying to brute force their way through things, aren't they?
Yeah.
That's what they're trying to do. They're just trying to bang at the door and hope they get there. And it's not particularly good you'd think it's not particularly good if you're a Raya owner, because they're not keeping the clean sheets. But hey, he got 6 saves and 2 bonus points on the weekend. He got 6 points out of 1-1.
Yeah, which is good.
It's all right. Like, they're not protecting him at all. They're just going at it, and I'm here for it. Like, I feel like if Brentford's on, I want to watch him.
Yeah.
I didn't feel like that last season, even when Eriksen was pulling the strings. Like, now I feel like this is good to see. You're very unlucky, mate.
What can you do?
What can you do? Everton, Gordon still.
Gordon, if he stays there, he's absolutely fine. There's rumours of Chelsea again going in with like a Brozier and Gallagher kind of deal, but plus cash. But that's money, not Matty, even though Matty Cash doesn't play for Chelsea anyway. But yeah, while he's still at Everton, he's
if he stays, at some point we're all own Gordon. I was quite close last week, but we would all own Gordon.
He's 5'5" as well.
Yeah,
I don't mind him.
I should have done it, mate. I was really tempted to just go Neto to Gordon last week, and then once the drop went, I couldn't do it. Should have done it.
It feels like he's not really going to be able to get on until when?
Yeah, it was the Chelsea thing that just put me right off.
Yeah.
Just stay with it, but keep it on the watch list, mate. Keep it on the watch list. Have we got any games left?
Yeah, we got the other game from today.
Yeah,
Wolves Newcastle.
Mate, no Bruno hurts them a lot against a team that do not create. Now, I know that it says
they still didn't create.
Yeah, but if you add in Jimenez's goal that he didn't get,
which would have been about 0.8.
6? Yeah, 7,
0.7.
Then it's pretty even in this one. It's more the case of the amount of time.
You take the Anderson header off at the end as well, you can see which obviously spiked it up.
But but it's more the times that they were 3-on-2 virtually against them. That happened all the time, that they just kept committing. Botman, Dan Burn when he was on, and like, they made a lot of last minute challenges, but they also were up against a team that don't score. No Bruno there. That's Salah with guaranteed minutes and no Bruno is a very, very hard thing to go against. Very hard thing to go against.
Pedro Neto?
I liked him. I was upset to not own him in a way.
Unlucky not to score in the first half.
Unlucky not to score, and he led the breaks all the time. But yeah,
he's getting himself. I mean, look, we talk about him being like the wide man in the front three, even with Jimenez in there, and I spoke about how bad their attack has been since Jimenez got injured. It's measurably worse since he got his serious injury, but it's even worse when he's not even on the pitch at all.
Yeah.
And I think Guedes and Mateus Nunes have looked all right in the first couple of games as well. They've been, involved, making good passes and creating stuff. I mean, it was a bit of a fantasy assist, really, wasn't it, today for the Neves goal? But I think it was Guedes that passed it inside for Neto though in the first half.
It was
as well for the clip over. So the clip over the bar.
He's a good player, mate.
So they look well organised. I said it last week. It helps settling into a team when the entire team speaks the same language, and that language is Portuguese.
It does help. It does help.
So Wolves' fixtures over the next. I tell you what, if there's a time to have Neto, it's the next 2 games.
You're not doing that, yeah.
No, I'm not going there. But I'm saying if you still own him, if you're still on him,
let's just bin it off, mate. We're not talking about that. We're not going there. About 30% of the game own Kieran Trippier now.
What do you think of Cher taking that free kick at the end?
I don't think Trippier had it in him to kick it. He was really struggling. I thought he was coming off, but he had the armband today. And I think he just managed his minutes. I don't think he had the ability to kick it. And that will be an interesting one to see over the next game. You know, is look, a win in the FFS tournament for us. Yes. We had a load of Kane ones, and we had a David, I think, had Trent captain. So yes, we did win in the FFS tournament. So
I don't know how we got on yet, but anyway.
Our listeners, but Trippier, like he was struggling, but they got a lot of corners. I think they had some like 11, 12 corners, and he was just banging in crosses. Just in sheer numbers, mate, he will accumulate. He is what he is.
Yep. There's definitely. I mean, Newcastle, like it's a game week 6 window for me. Like that is what I'm thinking. Like game week 6.
Yeah, you're not bringing one of them in away to Liverpool in midweek.
No. But I'm thinking from game week 6, the fixtures actually turn as well. Excuse me. So yeah, so you do Palace, West Ham, Bournemouth, Fulham, Brentford,
and
United,
no Europe.
Everton, no Europe. Exactly.
We've got to consider Brighton, Leeds, Brentford, and Newcastle as really viable assets right now.
Yeah.
At cheap prices, and those players not in Europe will play.
Yeah. So if anything, I mean, just make sure your benches are filled with these guys as well.
Yeah. Is that us on games?
I think that's us on games. So we can move on to next week, I guess. What we're thinking, what to do. So I've made a move.
Says you have already made a move.
I've already made a move. We've both got captain on Salah at the moment. I think that's just because we didn't have enough time to change it before I needed to take screenshots. But I made a move. I took Bailey out and put Pascal Gross in there. You know, fine. I lost 0.2 million on it, but you know, as far as I'm concerned, I made a better decision than Steven Gerrard did. So, you know, I'll sit on that. I'll sit on that throne for as long as I need to.
I love it.
And it wasn't to be this time, but I'll own you again, Leon. I'm sure. New manager bounce. I'm ready for it. 4.8. I'm all for that.
I've got 2 transfers, 0.4 million or something in the bank. I will definitely make at least 1. Maybe 2. Yeah, I think it's going to be all press conference related. Is that Ramsdale one is a way that, you know, I could free some money up. So, for example, I could go Ramsdale and my lovely Almiron to Sanchez and Gross on the right money right now. And if I want to just go full Brighton, then that's an option. Perisic kind of might be whether we get any leaks of whether we think he'll start or not. If he doesn't, then I might be tempted to just do a 1-week punt and use one of my transfers on Perisic and go somewhere else on him with the ability that I could bring him back. But Tottenham's fixture run from now is just mad. But I can't help but think that he's so professional from what we're seeing.
It isn't. I mean, we've got City and Arsenal in the next 5.
Yeah, and you know that he's going to have to play those games.
Yeah, true.
Well, have to play those games. So
yeah, you will do.
And he's just so class. It's just lovely owning Perisic, isn't it?
Yeah, much prefer owning him than not owning him. I'm seeing non-owners on the timelines today.
Oh yeah, people are grateful,
people are petrified.
Look,
6 points. Okay, we'll take that.
If people are grateful on that, then you know you've got a good asset. It's very difficult to move off him. So yeah, that's some early thoughts. Maybe do something around
I've made one move, but I've got nothing in the bank now. So any move that I will make will likely be for a hit. If I do make any moves,
your team looks so good, mate.
Yeah,
so good.
I'm pretty happy with it, to be honest.
For the Lee Audio guys, do you want to just give your team that you're currently looking at the moment?
Yeah, so I'm in Edison in goal. I've got Trent, Cancelo, James, and Perisic at the back. I've got Salah, Martinelli, and Pascal Gross in the middle, and then I've got Haaland, Jesus, and Tony. Up top, Ward, Andreas, Nico Williams, and for some reason I've still got Sean Longstaff on the bench. But
hey, Bruno's out, mate. He's playing.
True.
Ramos in goal for me. Same back 4. Trent, Cancelo, James, Perisic, Salah, Luis Diaz, Martinelli. I've got Andreas currently starting with Haaland, Jesus up top. But yeah, 2 transfers and likely do something with it. The deliberation is going to be the Salah and Haaland one.
Yeah.
I swing, my immediate thoughts were before this game week that it was going to be like 98% Salah. We have got a new king, and I would put myself more 60-40.
Yeah, so anyone who wasn't listening at the start, we were basically saying on the Haaland thing is the play might be just to captain Haaland and then make sure you put your vice on who you would cap if it wasn't Haaland, obviously. And if you get a start from Haaland against Forest, amazing. If you get 20 minutes of Haaland against a tired Forest, amazing. If he doesn't come on, you've got your vice. Just make sure you've got a decent first person on your bench, and that might be the right play.
Yeah.
That might be the right play. See, I'm quite happy to have Andreas first bench.
Yeah.
And that was the awkward one, was Pascal Gross or Andreas. I know I've only just brought Gross in. It was
it's Gross, as well, mate, all day. Like, you can't mess him. He's absolutely firing.
Yeah, but look, Fulham at home.
There's gonna come a time where the house doesn't win. There's going to come a time, and it's about picking the right time of it. If you go on Haaland this week and Salah bangs and Haaland doesn't, the safe play is Salah.
Cool. Right, so just a couple of minutes. If anyone wants to ask any questions in the chat, there's still 220 of you almost. So if anyone wants any questions, shout them out now, and we will just quick fire answer those. It's the first time we've really done kind of like a Q&A. I didn't really say we were going to do one, but let's do a Q&A if anyone wants to.
It's been nice for 2 minutes. Yeah, that's what you're getting out of us.
You're getting 2 minutes to think of something, any questions at all.
Quick fires.
Yeah, so. But if we don't get anything in the next 30 seconds, we'll cut it short there, because we're not just going to sit here quiet.
We're going to go to the golf, mate, see if Rory can win all the money.
This is true, yeah. So let's go back to this view. At least.
So Cancelo, any consideration of moving on this week? No.
Not this week, no. No. No.
Maybe that game week 6.
So. Maybe that game week 6. Because I think he might need to be rested up for the Champions League. So
yeah.
FPL Voices says you got wildcard plans.
No.
Not yet. Not yet. 2 games a week now with Europe, no Walker. Should we have Walker, or?
I think the fact that Gomez isn't even coming off the bench says to me that he's just very happy with Cancelo and Walker at the moment. I don't see that Gomez makes his debut as a start. Do you? I think he gets a game off the bench first, and then it goes from there.
Probably. Quickly, what is going on with Sonny this season? I think he just needs to score, doesn't he?
Just needs to score,
and then it will start to feed through. So
pressure.
Cancelo, keep Salah long term. We've done that.
Long term, I think there's opportunity to move around. But hey, I will tell you that last season I went off him earlier than some of the most, and then it's bloody expensive to get him back.
Yeah, true. There's a question. I've just put the rest days up there because the question is, how does the Champions League and Europa League draws affect the Big Six? And I'm just really looking at the first fixture.
It's horrific. That's how it affects it. It's absolutely, from here on in, it's bloody horrific.
Yeah, it's hard. It's really hard. And yeah, fair enough. Okay, we'll leave it at that. All right, last couple. 2 frees, nothing to do. Cucurella and Cancelo to Walker and James. Would you do that? 2 frees and nothing to do.
I think our good friend Danny Move 78 FPL said something earlier about no transfers is better than suboptimal transfers, and I completely agree on that.
Fair enough.
Completely agree on that. It's just using a move because you got it. Don't need it.
Fair enough. And the last question I'm going to put up there: will you guys be doing a match of the day challenge anytime soon?
Absolutely not.
There's no chance. There's no chance that we go on a Saturday without watching.
We are the most horrific people on earth. There is no chance that we even go between 60 minutes and 90 minutes on the 3 o'clocks without refreshing live FPL, the bonuses, all of those type of things. It is never, ever happening because we are maniacs.
Mate, I sent you a message. Did I send you a message? What was it? City were 2-0 down and Cancelo was on 2 bonus. Like that's
still checking it. Still checking it.
Wasn't even half time.
Honestly,
half time.
Every time there's a half cross, I'm refreshing it, saying, "Is that Ramsdale save?"
You're worse at the end of the games when players are starting getting up their pass completions. And you're like, has he ticked it 95, 90, 88, 80, 89, 89, 90, 30 passes, 90? Yes.
Watch-alongs.
Oh, watch-alongs are coming.
Happens.
Watch-alongs will come, yeah. Watch-alongs will definitely come.
Thursday there'll be the second half of Man United Leicester, and we'll have a Man United fan on our pod. So
yeah,
that's more our style.
But yeah, then we'll do. There'll be more later on in the season, which will be bigger as well. There'll be more games. We can't do this Wednesday, but yeah. So as a reminder, we are. So I guess I'll just fly into admin just to finish us off, and we're good.
Let's go, mate.
Cool. So, guys, remember to follow us on Twitter at AboveAverageFPL, at BakerFPL343. Thank you for everyone in this YouTube stream for joining us this evening. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. We are recording again on Thursday, as Baker's just mentioned. We have got Hindu Monkey joining us on Thursday evening, second half of the Man United game. Almost called a Man City. That would have been a bad one. And then we'll be back next Sunday for our normal podcast / YouTube, whatever we're calling it now. If you do enjoy our content, the Football Content Awards got nominations open, so check out the details in the description below. It's all there. You can go and vote for us. That would be fantastic if you would do that. Was there anything else I wanted to say? Thank you guys to our members. So to Mike, to Dan, to Daddybot, and now to I've forgotten Simon. That's it. Terrible with names. I'm just looking up for the green names. But yeah, thank you to you guys. We really appreciate your support, and we'll, as I say, this week we won't do any extra content because we're already doing it with Hindu Monkey. But the week after we'll do something extra stuff
for the members.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's go.
I spoke quite fast there, so apologies to anyone if there's subtitles on that. It's gonna be a nightmare. But yeah, cool, guys. Good luck for game week 5. Deadline's on Tuesday. Don't miss it. And we'll catch you on Thursday.
Bye.
See you later.